Welcome back, guys. So this is episode 2 of the Blackheart Paladin. My name is Ryan. So for this one, I know it's episode 2 and I'm probably confusing you guys because I did 1 and then 1.5, but I called it 2. This is the real 2. So this one is going to be episode 2, the intro post-depression cycle. So the good news is that I did come out of my depression cycle. You guys might notice by the way I'm acting. I feel a lot better. I feel like I probably look like I'm feeling better. I don't know though. When I rewatch the videos, hopefully, I didn't have anybody kind of looking at it and thinking like, oh man, this guy's not depressed, look at him, he's talking fine, and he's not acting mopey or anything like that. It is one of those, and I feel like it would probably more likely be people that haven't dealt with depression that would be thinking that, but you never know. And I just wanted to kind of go back through the intro, because when I did the first one, I was dealing with the depression, and I think that video was it was just under 3 minutes, and there's a lot more that I wanted to say that probably should be said in an intro video to a podcast. But when you're feeling down and depressed like that, I basically was just like, man, I don't care about doing this intro. I just want to get to telling you guys about what's going on, and just get to the meat of it, really. So this is going to be the intro the way that I wanted to do it, that I intended to do it. So once again, my name is Ryan Nieders. I was a medic in the Army, and I was with the 101st Airborne 2nd Battalion. And why I wanted to do this, or well, I guess first I should say as well, so me and a couple friends of mine, Brian Skoll and Matt Meller, you can find both of them on YouTube as well, we did go ahead and we're starting our own media group for our podcasts and all that. We all talk about different things and do different things, and then some of the stuff we do together, as far as like playing games. Me and Brian both do a podcast. Matt plays game. Well, all three of us play games, but we decided to come together and do a group. So that is Omni Lucid Media. For anybody that's watching that already joined the group on Facebook, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. We're trying to just grow and get as many people to the page for that, and to our individual YouTube channels, just to try and get the name out there and start helping people as best we can in any way we can. So I figure with the three of us all working together, it'll be able to reach more people. We'll be able to cover more subjects and topics, even though we might discuss some of the same, but at least this way you're getting different views on it, different backgrounds, different stories, and for the Blackheart Paladin channel, I think that's really a good thing, because now you're not just hearing about PTSD or depression or any of these things that I might talk about from my point of view. You're hearing it from Brian's point of view, or Matt's point of view, or anyone else that one of us might have on the podcast with us. So we did start that group. Again, thank you if you're already subscribed to the channel, any of the channels. If not, and this is your first video with me, I hope you do subscribe and like, comment, share, all that stuff. And then definitely go and check out the Omni Lucid Media page. So we just did launch day yesterday. So back to the Blackheart Paladin. So with me, I already kind of let everybody know a little bit about me, but why I wanted to do this is really, like I had said in the depression stage videos, it's really because I do want to help people, and I feel like talking about mental health, the things that I go through or have gone through, that by talking about them, you can get them out there, stop making them such a stigma, to where people are looking down on it or shunning it or anything like that. I mean, if you just ignore a problem, that doesn't make it go away. It just means that you're not coming up with a solution for it. And one of the things that I quote all the time, a platoon sergeant of mine had one of the best comments I'd ever heard, and that was, if you're complaining about if you're complaining about a problem without offering a solution, then you're just bitching. And I really believe that. If you want to complain about it, I mean, I understand everybody complains, but at least try and find a solution for it. And I guess this is my way of trying to help people that may be going through the same things. Primarily, I'll be talking about PTSD, since that's where all the issues stem from for me. So I'll probably be talking about veterans a lot. But if you're not a veteran, please don't feel excluded. I do understand that people other than veterans do have PTSD. Obviously, people other than veterans have depression, insomnia, anger issues, all those things. So don't feel excluded if you're not a veteran. It's just, me being a veteran, we are. Some of the stereotypes are true, that we do really stick together, look out for our own and all that. So I'm really hoping that if there's any vets out there, that they can definitely find some help, or maybe even just some comfort, whatever it may be, from this. And anybody else out there too. Again, I'm really just hoping that this is something to help people, and I'm more than willing to discuss things outside of the podcast as well. I prefer to do, even if it's just answering questions, I would prefer to do it on here, just because, if you have the question, chances are somebody else probably has it too. I feel like that's something they used to tell us all the time in school, but it is true. If you're thinking it, I'm sure there's somebody else out there that's thought the same thing. It might have been one that I was wondering about when I was really going through this. So I started wanting to do this, do a podcast or something similar to this a few years ago. I'd say probably at least 5 years ago. It all really started when all the rant pages and the other veteran companies were coming out. I think the Matt Best videos were the first ones that I saw, and I always love those. He's a hilarious guy. If you haven't watched him, I really suggest you go and check out Matt Best. I think it's like Matt Best X 1911. I'm not sure. If you just YouTube Matt Best, I'm sure you'll find it. But he does just a lot of really funny videos, kind of just trying to bring some levity to the situations. But not just him. Also John Burke. He does the rants, which he's usually pretty on point with what he's talking about, and I usually agree with just about everything that he says. Maybe a little bit different view on things, but for the most part pretty similar. And then also the newer one is Graham Allen. He's the one that goes that I believe he's like the spokesperson for Nine Line Apparel. Actually, what I'm wearing here, it's a veteran-owned company that was started by a couple medics. So again, gotta show your support for the other vets. Plus their clothes are pretty cool. But yeah, Graham Allen, I think he's the spokesperson for them, and he does his rants as well. Kind of the same thing, just going through, discussing the issues, things like that, things that come up all the time, things that are going on in the media, politically, you name it, whatever. They kind of go over it. But the one thing that I noticed that wasn't really being discussed with all of those is none of the guys really, I mean, at least directly, it seems that they don't ever really touch on mental health. They might do an episode or two, or like one of the rants. I'm pretty sure I've seen Burke do his on people that are having depression, or he talks a lot about being in shape and all that. So he talks more on that side of it. But still, I don't know how often he's actually talked about it. He's done a bunch of videos, so I honestly can't say that I've seen every single one of them, but either way, what I noticed was that none of these guys, or not just them, but it doesn't seem that anybody really just discusses mental health directly. So with me having it, and being able to admit it and talk about it, which I feel is a fairly rare thing. Other people have told me the same thing, that they have these issues, or they go through them, but they can't really talk about them again, because you get back to that whole stigma. You don't want people to feel like, hey, there's something wrong with you, and it's especially when they start kind of judging and And you know, you tell them there's something wrong with you, and if they can't physically see it, it's a lot harder for them to believe. I'm sure plenty of people have seen like the memes and that of people dealing with you know, depression or like just unseen diseases. Lupus is a big one. You know, you usually can't see it for people with lupus, but you know, they're hurting on the inside, and or something's going on that you just can't see. And if people don't see it, they don't really sympathize with it. So I feel like mental health is really like that, where it's definitely gaining more traction, where people are starting to recognize it and acknowledge it. But you know, it's still not where I feel that probably would really need to be to really start making a difference on things. So I just wanted to throw in my 2 cents on it, and you know, hopefully add to, I don't know, I guess the recovery, or just again, really just to help people out. So, like I keep saying, I really hope that people do comment in and ask questions, and you know, whatever it may be, or even if it's a subject that maybe they want to hear my thoughts on it, because maybe I do have a little bit better view, as opposed to somebody that hasn't gone through these things, or somebody that has and they're not willing to talk about them. So, with that being said, you know, I'll go through stuff with the PTSD. Like I said, you got insomnia, depression, as everybody just saw, like that I was going through it here in those first couple podcasts. You know, going through the anger, the hypervigilance, the, you know, just I guess insecurities, or just insecure feelings, and not necessarily insecure in yourself. I mean, I'll talk about that as well, but you know, just not feeling secure being outside. You know, being kind of, you know, you get the paranoia. I guess that's a better way of putting it. Just like the paranoia that you deal with. Until you can really get a handle on things. So there's a lot of things to discuss and go over, and scenarios, and all these things that I definitely want to talk about and get into, as well as, you know, definitely I do want to talk about, you know, maybe some things that are going on in the country and going on in America or wherever, what's going on with our troops, with our president, all that stuff. And of course, I'm going to definitely throw in some of the, you know, entertainment stuff as well. You know, I've done a few of the video game podcasts already, because, you know what, that's one of my ways of just chilling out and kind of dealing with this stuff, is, you know, playing video games, watching movies, reading books, all of that. And I know I mentioned a few of these things in the first intro, but you know, I really just want to say them again, and make sure that I get this intro video the way that I had intended, like I said. So a lot of things, lots of things to discuss coming up here in the future. I'm hoping to do plenty of them. Me myself, I'm also recently, within the last 6 months or so, I've given a couple lectures with some psychiatry students on PTSD, and you know, that was one of those things. I felt really good about doing that, because I felt like I was really helping. And same thing with this, you know, for people watching, maybe that is who's watching you. Maybe, you know what, maybe you're a family member of somebody dealing with depression or PTSD. You know, maybe your son or daughter came home from from the military or from a war, and you're not quite sure what's going on. You're trying to understand what they're going through. You know, if you watch this, maybe, you know what, maybe you'll hear something that I'm talking about that'll help you understand what they're going through, because it's I can't imagine how hard it is to understand what it's like for someone going through it when you haven't been through it yourself. And maybe that's something I'll have to get my parents on here at some point, so they can kind of give you their own insight as to what they noticed or how they felt when I was going through it around them. Yeah, so back to the lecture stuff. So, you know, giving those lectures to those students, that was a really great feeling, because you know, the way I look at it is, there was maybe 20 to 25 students in there. And with those, sorry, one sec, I need a drink here. So with those 20 to 25 students, if they took something from the lecture that I gave them, that, you know, and they go out and they have 20 to 25 clients, and, you know, effectively, you know, I've just helped, you know, how I'm not going to be able to do that math that fast, but, you know, I've helped 500 people total, you know, whatever it may be. So, you know, and that's a big number. That's what I'd really like to do. Like, again, like I was talking about when I was going through the depression, one of the big things was I was just really getting down on myself because I felt like I wasn't helping enough people. Even in my line of work, you know, there's 30 guys that I go and work with every day, that every single day I know I'm making a difference for the better in those guys' lives. But, you know, when I was getting in that depression, it's like, all right, well, 30, well, I want to do more. So now when I start getting into the, you know, the lectures, it's like, all right, well, 500, that's a good number. I'm liking 500 better than 30. So, you know, I'll like 1,000 better than 500. And hopefully, if I can, you know, get this channel to take off and really get out there to where, you know, I get thousands of people viewing it, and that I can see that I'm actually helping thousands of people going through any of this mental illness, that, you know, that'll definitely help me feel like, all right, I am doing some good. And that's really, I mean, that's really what I'm about as a person, is trying to, you know, I really just want to help people the best that I can, as much as I can, you know, with what knowledge or skills, whatever, you know, whatever you want to call it, that I do have. You know, it doesn't do anybody any good if I'm just keeping it up in here the whole time. So you got to get it out there so other people can, you know, learn and better themselves and all of that. And maybe in the process too, me doing this will help me better myself as a person. And there's definitely nothing wrong with that. I can definitely say that I think what got me out of my depression that was going on, which, you know, lasted 7 days, which luckily that's not too bad a one for the other ones that I've had, but still a week going through a really severe depression like that isn't fun. But what seemed to get it out, or get me out of that, was working on this Omni Lucid Media, that, you know, the group that I'm doing with my friends, like giving myself something constructive and something creative to work on, knowing that we're doing it to help people, and, you know, knowing that we're doing it for the right reasons, and all of that. So, you know, that's a good feeling, and it really falls into the wheelhouse of the things that were bothering me. So, you know, that alone, that right there got me out of my depression this time. So that was definitely a good thing. So I'm happy that me and my friends decided to start doing this. I think that was just about it. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to do for the intro. Like I said, plan on continuing to do these. You know, maybe if I can get these to take off a little bit more, I can do some more speaking events. I definitely plan to do more lectures with universities and students. I am working on a book based off of the journal that I kept while I was in Iraq. That's something I'll probably be referencing a lot going forward with other podcasts, just something so I can kind of look back and remember what my thoughts were, or exactly how I had put them at that time when I wrote it. But looking to put that into a book, and, you know, some other creative adventures that I'm looking to do, whether they be of the serious note talking about mental health, or you know, working on just some fictional writing, or whatever, you know, whatever it may be. But I got a few things that I'm working on, so hopefully you guys can come along for the ride with me. And once again, thank you for anybody that has already subscribed, anybody that's supporting the Omni Lucid Media. Hopefully we get a lot more. Hopefully anybody else that sees this will definitely subscribe to the channel, and get me some comments in there, so I know what you guys want to hear about. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be talking at you, and hoping you guys are getting something out of it. So yeah, once again, thank you very much. For any of the links to the media group, I will put them in the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll also have links in there for Brian Skoll and Matt Miller, who are the, once again, like I said, my partners with the Omni Lucid Media. So you guys have a good one, and hope to talk to you soon. Thanks.